Hey, Sean.
How are you?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Good
How's the lighting? Is it
morning,
okay?
everyone. This is Dave Marcinke with Movement Mortgage. And we've done another video, and we will once in a while do these videos to just inform the consumer, especially the buyers, a little bit more about what types of loans there are, what are the requirements, what are the documents needed. And we love having Dave here. So thanks for doing this.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
So I think today we're just going to cover, Dave, a couple of things. I know that a lot of the buyers are confused between what's a pre-qualifying letter versus a pre-approval from a lender. And so if you could explain to us what the differences are, because as you know, in this competitive market, a lot of the buyer sellers agents are requiring pre-approval versus pre-qualifying. So please let us know what the differences are.
Yeah, great question. So there's really three categories instead of just two on this. So pre-qualification is just where a consumer will talk to a lender. The lender will maybe pull their credit over the phone, ask them some questions about their income, and then, take a look at everything and say, yeah, it looks like you meet the guidelines, and here's your letter, you're pre-qualified. So there's not a lot of investigation that goes into it, or research to take a look at everything, to make sure that the borrower is fully equipped to purchase that home. Pre-approval is when a consumer will provide documentation to the lender, such as their income documents, their assets, to make sure they have the money for the down payment and all that. And the lender will take a look at it, and loan officer will run it through, analyze the income, put it into Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac's underwriting engine called DU or LP if you go Freddie. And then they will say, yeah, you're approved, eligible, it looks like you meet the qualifications, and so here's your pre-approval letter, which is stronger than a pre-qualification. And that's where most lenders stop. But some lenders out there will actually take that information and put it in front of an underwriter and do what they call a TBD approval. So TBD is to be determined, but just the property address is to be determined. And then we'll take a look and actually have the underwriter analyze everything as they would if it was a live deal, and give us a credit approval based on that fact that we have a fully underwritten pre-approval. And this is the strongest position that a buyer can be in, because we can remove loan contingencies at that point ahead of time, and the borrower can go in and become more competitive without having to necessarily have the highest price. We can shorten up timelines on contingencies as well. So that's the three main areas that a solid lender is going to take a look at for a buyer.
Perfect. And you threw in a couple of acronyms, which I know for us, it sounds very simple, but you said DU and LP. Can you tell me what the difference is between, or what those stand for?
Yeah, DU is a desktop underwriter. That's the software that Fannie Mae uses to underwrite a loan. So through our loan origination software that has all the information for a borrower, we run it through their software program, and then they say, yes, it's approved eligible, which means it looks like it meets all the Fannie Mae guidelines, and this loan is approved and eligible for financing through Fannie Mae. And then LP just stands for loan prospector, which is the same thing, only for Freddie Mac. And there's a few variations between the two investors, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, on their guidelines, but overall they're very similar.
Okay, and the reason we're talking about this, like you said, is that when multiple offers come through, and you have cash offers, when you have people that are putting more than 50% down, but if you're a buyer that cannot do that, or you choose not to do that, maybe you want to do with your money something else in terms of investment, so you want to put a lower down payment. What makes it attractive is when you go all the way to the underwriter that so you as a lender or broker provide, and that way we know that the loan will be approved and it's only based on, what the address is and what the appraisal is, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
They've
And then
looked
if
at
you
their
can tell
income.
us, pardon me?
No, I said that TBD approval, they've looked at all their income, they've looked at all their assets. It's like a live deal. So it's like a conditional approval.
Okay. Okay. And what are the differences in terms of the documents they need for a W-2 versus a 1099? If they're self-employed or, and I know there's a wide variety. So just few examples. I know I always ask these questions that, it's very particular to each person, but just giving an idea, to that self-employed versus a W-2.
Yeah, it's, important that, you designate those two, because we only want to gather enough information that's required. We don't have to apply everything. So if you have a W-2 borrower and we're doing a conventional loan through Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, or even a VA or FHA loan, we don't require tax returns. So all we're going to require is what the underwriting findings say when we run it through DU or LP, desktop underwriter or loan prospector. So like, for example, just had a client that we did that for, and they only asked for their 2020 W-2 and their most recent pay stubs. That's it. Okay? That's all the income documentation we need. Whereas other people who are W-2 but maybe have commission structures, and commission is more than 25% of their income, then we're going to need to look at their tax returns for the last 2 years.
I got it.
We're going to need to look at their W-2s for the last 2 years and their pay stubs. So but generally speaking, W-2 borrowers are only going to be required to provide W-2s and pay stubs for income. Now, if they're self-employed, they're going to be needing to provide their tax returns. Sometimes we can only qualify off of 1 year tax return. So it's just, again, depends on what the findings say from Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. But generally speaking, we're going to ask for 2 years tax returns up front. Their all pages of their and all schedules of their federal return. And then if they are incorporated or partnership, then they're going to need to provide their business returns as well for the last 2 years. So personal returns and business returns.
Perfect. Okay, great. That's great. And one of the questions, I hear this from buyers all the time. They have talked to a particular lender or a loan broker, and they have run their credit. And then they say, we don't want to shop around because if our credit has to be pulled again, then our FICO score or credit score can drop. Can you shed light on that? Because I know that's a myth, and so if you can shed some light on that, that would be great.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest objections that we always have, from buyers who want to, talking with different lenders. But the way that credit algorithms are set up through the FICO scoring models, you have a 45-day window where you can have multiple mortgage inquiries, and it only counts as one inquiry. That's the way that's set up with Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. So as long as you're not having your credit run by, a credit department store for a credit card, or a credit card for Discover or a personal loan or something like that, only having mortgage inquiries, then it's only going to count as one inquiry against your scoring for your credit score within that 45-day window.
Exactly. Okay, perfect. And we always want to encourage people to shop around. That every lender has different programs, and obviously I have my trusted lender, and but don't be afraid, to reach out to other lenders and then make sure that, and then I always call them rescue lenders. I know you have rescued many loans for me. And if a lender can't come through, you want to make sure you also have somebody else that's able to, provide that loan for you. So one last question, can you refresh on what the loan limits are currently in California? Because I know the limits have changed. It's been a little bit of, 4 or 5 months probably, or even more than that, has it? I think it's since November, I want to say, but you tell me, I could be completely wrong.
Yeah, then probably the beginning of December, I think it was December 7th or 10th or something like that, that they went into effect for 2021. And so for Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, the county loan limit in Orange County is $822,350. So That last year in 2020 was 765.
Yeah.
So, or 765, 450 or something like that. But, that range. So they've bumped it up quite a bit. And then in Riverside County and San Bernardino County, Fannie Mae's maximum loan limit is 548,450. So right in that, can't go above that range there. And so
Okay.
FHA varies a little bit greater, but in Orange County and LA County, they'll go up to the 822, 350 as well. And then for our VA partners, there's no county loan limit anymore. That got changed in early 2020. And so you can do 100% financing on $1 million plus purchase if you needed to or wanted to for a VA buyer.
Great. And the result of these higher limits, I guess, is you can qualify easier at better rates probably versus trying to do jumbo loans, for homes that were a bit more expensive and you weren't, putting down as much. So I think that's what the purpose of these new limits have been, right?
Exactly. And I mean, we just had a client here in Rancho Mission Viejo where, they're buying a little bit over $1 million and they had the 20% to put down. But their jumbo rate was going to be at, 2.875. And if they could put down 22% and get that loan limit down to 822, 350, then the rate went down to 2.65.
There we go.
And so
avoid PMI at all costs, right?
No PMI.
Mortgage insurance.
Yeah. And it's a lot easier to underwrite that loan on Fannie Mae than it is to the jumbo guidelines.
For sure. Okay, great, Dave. Thank you so much. Can you share your information, contact information, phone number? And obviously I will post this and tag you, and you can also add whatever you need to this post, but give us your phone number at least. And again, your contact information.
Yep. So Dave Marzinke, phone number is 714-585-0066. And email is dave.marzinke@movement.com. And so I'd love to have you get in contact with us if you have any questions. And you can always check out our website at marzinkelendingteam.com.
Thank you so much, Dave. That was wonderful. I hope you had a good Valentine's weekend too.
Yeah, we did. It was great. So a little quiet this year compared to other years though.
Okay. Very good. Alrighty. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Take care, Sean.
Bye.